I said to her mother, "That's a charming little girl," because
most people know her as a reality TV icon, a fashion trendsetter, and the daughter of music legend Lionel Richie. What many people don't realize is that she was adopted. Still, the connection between them runs so deep you would never guess. In this video, we'll take a closer look at Nicole Richie's life, where she is today, and the unbreakable bond she shares with her father. If you are ready, let's dive right into it. Nicole's early life.
Where'd you get these from?
It's nothing compared to look what I got.
Yeah, look at
Very
that.
special somebody.
Before she became a reality TV star, fashion icon, and someone everybody seemed to know, Nicole Richie had a story that most people have never heard. She wasn't born into the Richie family. Nicole Camille Escovedo was born on the 21st of September, 1981. Her biological parents were Peter Michael Escovedo III, a musician, and Karen Moss, who worked as a backstage assistant. They cared about Nicole, but when she was just 2 years old, they realized they couldn't give her the kind of life she needed. So they made a hard choice. They asked their close friends, Lionel Richie and his then-wife, Brenda Harvey, to take Nicole in. It started as a temporary arrangement. Lionel and Brenda became her legal guardians, planning to help out until things got better. Then, something happened. Lionel later said in an interview with People magazine in 2016, "We just fell in love with her and we said, let's be parents." Nicole had such a strong bond with them that it felt natural, and when she turned 9 years old, Lionel and Brenda officially adopted her. From that point on, Nicole wasn't just living in their home, she was their daughter. Growing up as Lionel Richie's child came with a very different kind of childhood. Nicole was raised in Beverly Hills. She attended major celebrity events, frequently met famous people, and lived a life that most kids could only dream of. In a Vanity Fair interview from 2005, Nicole said, "I had all these famous uncles. I just thought that's how everyone lived." Even with all the glam in the spotlight, Lionel and Brenda made sure she stayed grounded. They introduced her to music, art, and culture. They gave her love, care, and the kind of environment where a child could figure out who they are. Nicole's early life may have begun with uncertainty, but she was fortunate enough to be raised by people who truly cared. So what's it really like growing up with Lionel Richie as your dad? Nicole Richie knows that answer better than anyone. Lionel's responsibility toward Nicole.
I've always stayed really close with my mother and my father. I have really great friends, and I just have a really great circle around me who...
What started as guardianship gradually evolved into something much deeper. In later interviews, Lionel said something very touching. "Nicole saved me." That wasn't just a sweet quote, it came from a real place. Taking care of her gave him a sense of purpose he didn't even know he needed. Being a famous musician didn't make parenting any easier. Touring non-stop, juggling interviews, and being in the spotlight meant time was limited. However, Lionel made sure to put in the effort. He once said in Oprah's masterclass, "I was traveling and it was difficult, but I always made sure to spend time with her. She was my priority." Whenever he could, he brought Nicole with him. That meant she secured a front row seat in the music world at a young age. She saw the lights, the crowds, and the hard work behind the fame. While that sounds like fun, it also meant she was growing up in public, and that came with its kind of pressure. Lionel and Brenda didn't want Nicole to feel like she was just a celebrity kid. They worked hard to give her some sense of a regular life. Of course, it wasn't always perfect. As Nicole grew older, things began to change. Like most teenagers, she started to rebel. In the early 2000s, her behavior started making headlines, and it wasn't always for the right reasons. Lionel didn't walk away during that time. He didn't hide from the tough things either. In an interview with People magazine, he said, "As a father, it's your job to stay the course. You can't give up on your child no matter what." That's exactly what he did. He stayed. The pressure of being Lionel Richie's daughter never fully went away, and Nicole herself has said it was hard. She once shared in Glamour magazine, "My dad is my best friend. He has been there throughout everything, and I wouldn't be the person I am today without him." Their bond went through ups and downs, but it only got stronger with time. Lionel wasn't just her father. He was also her mentor. He helped her navigate difficult lessons, from coping with fame to overcoming personal struggles. When Nicole went through her very public battles with substance use, Lionel didn't turn away. He was there, helping her get through the storm. He says, "You love your kid no matter what, and you will always be there to guide them to the right path."
Yes, for sure. You know, he's getting a little bit older, so, you know.
One of the most emotional moments Lionel ever shared was from Nicole's wedding. He said on the Ellen DeGeneres show, "I was walking her down the aisle, and I realized this was my little girl. I tried to keep it together, but it was a moment I'll never forget." It showed just how deep their relationship was. No matter how hard things got, Lionel always showed up. He wasn't just a provider or a famous dad. He was someone who stood beside Nicole through everything. Let's explore how Nicole began turning her life around and why she's more than just a girl who grew up in the spotlight. Growing up in the spotlight.
You guys are not. You're... All right, fellas, let's go. Let's go, right? I got you.
Nicole Richie's teenage years were unlike those of most people. From the outside, it looked like a dream. She was living in Beverly Hills, attending the best schools, and attending red carpet events. However, growing up as Lionel Richie's daughter also came with considerable pressure. Everyone expected her to be perfect, and that kind of pressure can build up over time. She attended the top private schools in Los Angeles, including Buckley School. These were schools filled with kids from wealthy families, but even in those circles, Nicole felt different. In a 2005 interview with Vanity Fair, she said, "Everyone knew who my dad was, and that came with expectations. I was expected to be perfect, and that was hard." As a teenager, Nicole started spending time with other celebrity kids. That's how she and Paris Hilton became close. They were always together at parties, events, and everywhere else. Their friendship grew quickly, and pretty soon, they were seen everywhere. By the early 2000s, they weren't just friends. They were the it girls of Hollywood. Young people either wanted to be them or wanted to talk about them. The media followed their every move. In a later interview with Paper magazine, Nicole said, "We were just kids having fun, but there was always someone watching." That kind of constant attention made everything more intense. The fun moments were public, so were the mistakes. In 2003, Nicole and Paris took things to a new level by starring in a reality show called The Simple Life. It was meant to be funny, watching two rich girls try to live in the real world, and it worked. The show was a hit, but at the same time, it locked Nicole into a certain image, the spoiled rich party girl who didn't have a clue. Behind the scenes, Nicole was going through a lot. She was still figuring out who she was outside of being Lionel Richie's daughter. In a 2014 interview with Glamour, she admitted, "I didn't know who I was or what I wanted to be." That confusion and pressure led her to rebel. She began drinking and using substances not just to party, but to cope. Her behavior began to change, and the media took notice. Suddenly, she was being known more for scandals than anything else. Her friendship with Paris, while exciting, also added fuel to the fire. The two were often pictured at wild parties, and their names were all over the tabloids. People couldn't stop watching, but they also didn't understand what Nicole was going through. In an interview with the New York Times, Nicole recalled, "We were young, we made mistakes, but at the time we didn't realize the impact it would have." However, through all of that chaos, Lionel Richie never gave up on her, even when things got rough. Lionel was there watching, stepping in and staying by her side. He made sure she had the support she needed. Nicole's wild years were messy and very public, but her father's support gave her something steady to hold on to. She may not have known it at the time, but having someone who didn't walk away made a huge difference. Struggles with substance use.
Richie's first DUI conviction was in 2003.
Nicole Richie's life might have looked glamorous from the outside, but behind the scenes, she was dealing with real pain. In her early 20s, she was already deep into a world that many young stars struggle to escape, and partying, substances, and alcohol became part of her everyday life. There were moments when it all became too much. In a Vanity Fair interview from 2006, Nicole said something that showed where her mind was during those years. "It was my way of coping with everything. I thought I had it under control, but I didn't." That one line said it all. She was hurting, and she didn't know how to ask for help. Her first major legal issue occurred in 2003. Nicole was arrested for heroin possession, and suddenly, the media turned all their attention to her personal life. That moment became a turning point, not just in the public's view of her, but in her journey too. She entered rehab after the arrest, though getting clean wasn't a straight line. It took a few tries, and her battle lasted several years. During this period, tabloids followed her everywhere. Every mistake, every party, every photo of her looking too thin was all over the news. Headlines called her a mess, a cautionary tale, and even a bad influence. She became, unfairly, a symbol of what people thought was wrong with young Hollywood. There was another serious incident in 2006 that grabbed headlines. Nicole was pulled over while driving on the wrong side of a Los Angeles freeway. Tests showed she had marijuana and Vicodin in her system. She ended up being sentenced to 4 days in jail, but due to overcrowding, she only served 82 minutes. Even though her time inside was short, it left a mark. Nicole later admitted that it was one of the moments that made her realize something had to change. Through all of this chaos, one person stayed solid, her dad, Lionel Richie. In a People magazine interview from 2016, he said, "As a parent, it's your worst nightmare to see your child go through something like that. I knew I had to be there for her, no matter what." He wasn't just saying it, he showed up. He visited her in rehab, stood by her through every legal battle, and reminded her that she wasn't alone. Lionel also knew he had to be firm. He gave her tough love when she needed it most. In Oprah's masterclass, he shared one of the things he told Nicole during her worst moments. "You're going to make mistakes, but you have to learn from them." That mix of love and honesty helped Nicole begin to see a way out. Her recovery wasn't overnight. It was slow, painful, and personal. She had to face her issues, rebuild her life, and try to regain the trust of those around her, including the public. Marriage, motherhood, and personal growth.
I learned this in motherhood. That's when I, really began to.
There was a time when Nicole Richie was known mostly for parties, headlines, and chaos. However, things began to shift when someone new walked into her life. Joel Madden, the lead singer of the rock band Good Charlotte, who eventually became her husband and the father of her 2 children. It is safe to say that their relationship marked the beginning of Nicole's journey toward personal growth and stability. Their friendship began in late 2006. At that time, Nicole was already beginning to rethink her lifestyle. She had started pulling away from the constant partying and media pressure, and Joel came into her life just when she needed something steady. Joel, well known for his punk rock image, was also ready to slow down and focus on something more profound. Together, they began to build something real. In 2007, the couple announced they were expecting a baby. The news came as a surprise to many people, but for Nicole, it changed everything. She gave birth to their daughter, Harlow Winter Kate Madden, in January 2008. Looking back, Nicole later referred to that moment as a turning point. In an interview with People magazine years later, she said, "When I had Harlow, I finally felt like I had a real purpose. I knew I had to be the best version of myself for her." Parenthood gave Nicole something she hadn't felt in a long time: direction. She became more focused, more grounded, and more determined to be her best self. Joel stood beside her the whole way. Their bond grew even stronger after Harlow's birth, and by December 2010, they tied the knot in a small, private wedding at Lionel Richie's estate in Beverly Hills. Lionel walked Nicole down the aisle, calling it one of the happiest moments of his life. He said, "Nicole has been such a wonderful influence in Joel's life, and I'm so happy for them both." Just a year after their wedding, the couple welcomed their second child, a baby boy named Sparrow James Midnight Madden, in September 2009. Raising 2 children brought a whole new level of fulfillment to Nicole's life. She started embracing motherhood with full focus. In an interview with Elle magazine in 2013, Nicole said, "My kids are my everything. They've taught me more about myself than I ever thought possible." At home, Joel often praised Nicole's dedication to their family. In a Rolling Stone interview from nearly a decade ago, he said, "Nicole is the rock of our family. She's such an amazing mom, and I couldn't do this without her." It was clear that they had created a strong partnership, built not just on love but on shared values. In interviews, Nicole has described Joel as someone who provided her with a sense of stability, which she desperately sought at that point in her life. Nicole, who had grown up in the spotlight, made a deliberate choice to raise her children in a more private setting. She didn't want Harlow and Sparrow to grow up with cameras in their faces. She and Joel agreed to keep their family life as normal as possible. The fame was still there, but it no longer controlled everything. Are you eager to know more about Nicole's life? Let's dive into how she made her mark in fashion and business. Nicole Richie's fashion and business. There was a time when Nicole Richie was best known for her appearances on reality TV. Most people saw and knew her as the wild girl from The Simple Life. Few imagined she would go on to build a serious name in fashion. Yet Nicole surprised everyone. She took a bold step away from her party girl image and followed a different path, one that led to creative success. Nicole's love for fashion had always been there. In 2008, she launched her brand, House of Harlow 9060. It was named after her daughter, Harlow. It started as a jewelry line and quickly gained popularity. Her bohemian-inspired designs stood out, and people loved the mix of vintage vibes with modern elements, which was the signature look of the brand. The line caught the attention of celebrities and everyday fashion lovers. As more people began to notice her work, Nicole expanded the brand. It became more than just jewelry. Soon, House of Harlow expanded to offer clothing, handbags, accessories, and even home decor. Nicole's style, easy, relaxed, and stylish, along with her well-known attention to detail, became the face of the brand. In a 2010 interview with Harper's Bazaar, Nicole explained her vision for the brand. "I wanted to create pieces that women could wear every day, but still feel like they were making a statement. It's about feeling confident and comfortable in your skin." Nicole was not just the face of the label. She was involved in the design process from start to finish. From sketching pieces to choosing fabrics, she stayed hands-on. Her goal was to maintain the brand's authenticity in line with her personality and values. In an interview with Vogue, she explained, "I'm hands-on with everything. This brand is an extension of me, so it's important that it feels authentic." However, Nicole's journey in fashion was not always smooth. In the early days of House of Harlow 9060, there were plenty of lessons to learn. Nicole had no formal training in design, so she relied on instinct, personal style, and a strong team around her. She stayed curious and open to advice, listening closely to the people she trusted. Over time, her confidence grew. She became more sure of herself, not only as a designer, but also as a businesswoman. She learned how to balance creativity with responsibility, how to stick to her vision while managing budgets, schedules, and product launches. At the heart of it all, she kept one goal in mind: to build something real and lasting. Nicole wanted women to feel free, beautiful, and seen when they wore her designs. Her clothes and accessories spoke to women who loved bold choices, but also valued comfort and ease. That balance became her trademark. Over the years, Nicole's style evolved. She began to incorporate more structured pieces into her collections, demonstrating her versatility as a designer. She was not afraid to take risks or change direction when needed. Her fashion sense matured just like she did. Her brand followed that growth. It slowly transformed from a small passion project into a global lifestyle brand. It began to appear in major stores, fashion websites, and even red carpet events. Celebrities continued to wear her pieces, and loyal fans stayed excited about each new collection. Nicole remained humble through it all. She often said that success is not about fame or numbers, but about creating something that feels meaningful. Her quiet determination became an integral part of her story, the aspect that many people admire the most. She proved that it is possible to grow up in the public eye and still come out strong, creative, and full of purpose. Along the way, she also explored other creative paths. She wrote a novel titled The Truth About Diamonds, a semi-autobiographical work, which was inspired by her own life. It provided readers with a closer look at what it's like to grow up in the spotlight. The book was well received and further proclaimed her as a multi-talented individual. Around the same time, Nicole returned to TV, but in a new light. She starred in Candidly Nicole, a reality series based on her genuine thoughts and experiences, which she originally shared on Twitter. The show ran from 2014 to 2015 and gave fans a glimpse of her quirky humor and real-life personality. Nicole also began working with other fashion and beauty brands. She collaborated on capsule collections and served as a style ambassador. These partnerships helped spread her influence even further in the fashion world. Her work didn't go unnoticed. In 2010, she was named Entrepreneur of the Year at the Glamour Women of the Year Awards. Today, Nicole Richie is far from the girl she used to be on TV. She is now seen as a respected fashion designer and entrepreneur. Her brand, House of Harlow 9060, continues to grow. With Nicole as the creative director, the brand has reached people worldwide. Her story shows what can happen when someone decides to rewrite their narrative. With passion, effort, and belief in her vision, she has built something lasting. In a 2016 interview with Elle, Nicole summed it up best. "Fashion is about expressing who you are. It's not about trends or following what everyone else is doing. It's about being yourself and feeling confident in your choices.
All right, let me tell you a story, okay? When I was in 6th grade,
Nicole's relationship with Lionel today.
No comment.
Over the years, one thing has remained steady in Nicole Richie's life: her relationship with her father, Lionel Richie. Through fame, struggles, motherhood, and success, Lionel has remained a constant presence. Their bond is not just about family ties. It is about deep respect, shared values, and unconditional love. When Nicole was adopted by Lionel and his then-wife, Brenda Harvey Ritchie, she was still very young. Even though her early years were filled with change, Lionel gave her a sense of home. As Nicole grew up in the spotlight, her father never let fame or chaos come between them. He stood by her side during her wild teenage years, her challenges with substance use, and even her lowest moments. In many interviews, Nicole has spoken about how her father's love never wavered. She once said Lionel was her biggest supporter and always knew how to help her without making her feel judged. When Nicole entered rehab in the early 2000s, Lionel visited often. He once said that watching his daughter go through pain was the hardest thing he had ever experienced. Yet, he never gave up on her. He believed in her healing long before the world did. Now, as an adult, Nicole sees her father not only as a parent, but also as a friend and mentor. She has often credited him with teaching her how to raise her children. In a 2018 interview with InStyle, Nicole shared how Lionel's calm, patient way of parenting influenced how she mothers Harlow and Sparrow. She explained that he always led with love, even during tough conversations. Their connection goes beyond parenting advice. Lionel has helped Nicole manage fame, privacy, and the pressure of being in the public eye. When people doubted her, Lionel reminded her of her worth. He once told her, "You are strong, you are capable, you are going to be okay." That message stayed with her through the years. Nicole's growth into a loving mother and respected entrepreneur made Lionel proud. In a 2020 interview with Access Hollywood, Lionel said he was amazed at how far Nicole had come. He called her graceful, strong, and a wonderful mother. He added that watching her raise her children with such care was one of the greatest joys of his life. Just recently, Lionel and Nicole's mother, Brenda, showed up in full support at the Los Angeles premiere of Nicole's movie, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Nicole later shared on Today with Hoda and Jenna that her parents were more excited than she was. She laughed while telling the story and added that their pride meant everything to her. Lionel taught her the value of honesty and hard work, even amid fame and fortune. Those lessons became even more meaningful to Nicole when she became a mother herself. She has shared in interviews how she often finds herself repeating Lionel's words to her kids. Over time, their bond deepened not just as father and daughter, but as close friends who truly understand each other. They often attend events together, share laughs during interviews, and support each other's professional work. Nicole has made appearances at Lionel's concerts, and Lionel has walked the red carpet at Nicole's fashion shows and film premieres. Their public interactions reveal a genuine connection filled with warmth and affection. In one interview, Lionel recalled how Nicole used to sit backstage during his concerts, quietly watching his shows. It is moments like those that remind him of how much she has grown. From the little girl who once looked up to him to the strong, independent woman she is today. Their relationship is not just about support during good times. It's about being there for each other through the tough times as well. They have also been through difficult periods together. Nicole's struggles with substance use, media pressure, and early fame were incredibly tough on both of them. Nicole has expressed how much Lionel's love and care meant to her, especially during moments when she doubted herself. She has described Lionel as her biggest cheerleader and someone who always reminded her of her worth, even when the rest of the world seemed against her. That kind of love gave Nicole the courage to rebuild her life and follow her passions. In recent years, Nicole and Lionel have continued to celebrate each other's successes. When Nicole's fashion line, House of Harlow 9060, gained recognition in the fashion world, Lionel was among the first to praise her. He often compliments her eye for style and her creative talents, calling her a visionary in interviews. Nicole, in turn, always speaks highly of her father's achievements in music and philanthropy. Their admiration for each other is mutual, and it is clear that they value the bond they share. Even in casual moments, their connection shines through. Whether it's joking on a talk show or showing up for a family celebration, Nicole and Lionel are always there for one another. The bond between them has not only helped her survive the tough times, but it has also helped her thrive. Their relationship reminds us that no matter how much success or failure we face, love from a parent can provide a sense of grounding. Nicole's strength comes from more than just within. It also comes from the presence of a father who never gave up on her. Through every chapter of her life, Lionel has been her anchor. What do you think about Nicole and Lionel's bond? Have you ever experienced that kind of unconditional support from a parent or guardian? Share your thoughts in the comments. If this story touched you, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories just like this. Before you go, watch the other videos on your screen.